Hey guys, biracial Tiffany here. Thanks everyone for all your positive feedback on the hater video. It was so fun to make, and I'm glad everyone liked it. I just had been listening to that song a lot recently, and I thought, it's just like Jill Scott made this for YouTube. I know she didn't, but anyway, I thought I should use it. So that's kind of what I came up with to fill the 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I watched the second part of Black in America on black men. I mean, people on YouTube comment that I don't talk about black men very often, and wonder why that is. And mostly it's because I don't know that many black men. The black men in my family, aside from my cousin, who's a few years older than me, weren't around. My mom's dad, I didn't even, I might have met him, said hey, hi, when I was 2, and then I didn't see him again until I was 16. And I never really heard anything good about him. And my mom has a brother who we have no relationship. It's just hard. And what was the hardest thing for me to hear, and I thought the most poignant perhaps of that whole 2 hours of that CNN documentary, was that a black man with no convictions, no criminal record, has the same status in the eyes of an employer, in the eyes of the man, as a white man with a conviction. And that perhaps a white man with a conviction would get a job over a black man without one. So that's why we need to have these discussions, so we can change that. And that to me ties into the little 4-year-old boy saying that he doesn't feel, saying that he feels white. I'm not saying that he should go through his whole life thinking that he's white and clinging to whiteness and shunning blackness at all, but going back to that idea of the innocence and the feeling of being on top and being able to do anything. I don't want him to lose that. And I also think we talk a lot about you get what you expect out of life, and you get kind of what you put out there comes back to you. And so if this little boy grows up into a young man who has seen through the fallacy of race, and I don't see how anyone could not embrace their blackness. I really don't. I mean, we've been talking more recently here about the blandness of whiteness, but that's inconsequential really, about sort of being aloof and unaware, and I think you miss out on the depth of life and like what really matters, and how to have compassion and to care greatly for people. I think you get that from the black experience, and I think that is something to cling to, along with the sort of feeling entitlement and privilege. I have all these notes on the comments because there were so many were great. And someone said, white people just think of themselves as people without a color or anything attached. And I think when you're black or when you're something other, you have to, add that into the equation. And when there's a stigma attached to it, that's harder to do. And I think it might limit your expectations of yourself and what the world has to offer you, and I don't want people to be limited by that stuff. So I'm not only doing this to talk about being mixed and to promote biracial visibility, which I am, but also it's like we waste so much time and energy separating ourselves and hating, and I don't just mean on YouTube, and that's just, I've said it before, but I'll say it again, it's not pleasing to God, so I want us to stop doing that. Feeling stressed you answered my questions when I said, how do we get rid of the stigma attached to blackness? And you said, first we have to answer, why is there a stigma attached and what keeps it alive today? And why is there a stigma attached? Certainly it goes back to slavery. You know, there's a stigma attached to being raped. There's a stigma attached to having your will, your freedom, and your life taken from you. And I think that's why black men sort of bear the brunt of this situation, because the man is supposed to be the strong one, the protector. You know, we all are aware of what the stereotypical roles of men are. And to not be able to save your family, to not have free will, to not be able to be the man that has to have created a stigma. And what keeps that stigma alive today? Somehow holding on to the idea that somehow white people really must be better to have even been able to do that to black people. I don't know. I'm asking, and I'm hoping to get answers from people. I don't know, I've been trying to think, you know, exactly what was the moment where what did it to me that I got that black and white were different, and black was negative and white was good, and that I needed to be separate from this whiteness because I look black and people are going to expect me to be black. And I've come to the conclusion that it must have been gradual. But I think there's a lot. The moment where maybe there's a crossover into really joining the world's view of things is when you learn about slavery in school. Richard Warbird, Werald Bloom, I think is your username on YouTube. You wrote the essay, and now I don't even remember what website it's on, but about what happens when we get to that part of history class and we talk about slaves, and the black kids feel humiliated, and I don't know what the white kids feel because I'm not white. But I certainly remember, and this wasn't even a history lesson, but I remember one time in class, someone was reading aloud from the book, and they came upon the words, what should have read, the river Niger, and this girl said the river nigger. And I would have liked to have just disappeared. And it's that kind of experience. I know this girl was actually my friend. She didn't mean to offend me. I mean, it sort of raises a flag of like, that language is so much in your vocabulary that you would read those letters and automatically come up with that. But this was in the 5th grade, you know, so we're like 10 years old. So, you haven't been like reading. You've been reading for a long time, I hope. But you know what I'm saying. It could have been an innocent mistake, but it also makes me think, is this a word you've been hearing or using at home? But knowing this girl for many years after and spending a lot of time at her home, I don't think that's the case. Anyway, people, I don't know. I'm really perplexed by this, and I cannot believe it's already been 10 minutes and I have said one thing that I wanted to say today. So, thank you for listening and watching, and please respond with your thoughts. Like, what do we do? That's all I want to know. Bye.